so plain and precious.
And one more thing to add, the missionaries, being 72,000 now, being away from this valley, as this valley is prophesied, and as I've done the reporting, is ready to be sabotaged as a burn pit, the missionaries will be out on their missions whenever this day that shall burn as an oven happens and destroys the church along with it in this valley. The missionaries are going to be trapped around the world, scattered. That's also part of the prophecy, that Mormons are going to be scattered and will need to be called back to Zion. And so, yes, you're going to have all these breeding age kids out on their missions who are going to find out that their family is now dead. And yeah, they won't have a home to come back to. And so, yes, that's when the church is expecting to be the ones to call you home to build Zion, because you're not smart enough to know that it's a false church because you went. So, yeah, you're going to be used to build Zion, the 72,000. That's what I see happening here. Killing off the old, as we here in this valley will be the lambs. And that you, as the 72,000 plus missionaries, will be the starting over with the brand new church. And you think that the inverted pentagram is Jesus. And so, yeah, they'll have no problem restoring the temple and no longer needing to put a fence up to keep unworthy people from seeing and taking further pictures of the inverted pentagram on the keystone of the doors of the Salt Lake Temple, which originally was planned to be rededicated on that very Saturday for April conference. So pay attention. If it's a miracle that it gets to be dedicated on that day. It doesn't look like it. Looks like they still have a lot of work to do. But next few days here, I'll be going down to see what it's like, see where they're at. But in October, nope. Still a long ways to go then. Alrighty. So yeah, be on the alert for that. That does seem to be the case. Rather than sacrificing the lambs are going to be the ones to rebuild with the deaths of their parents, who no longer know about this. But it's going to come back with a whole new meaning. The Neo Church of Jesus Christ, aka Lucifer, say his name, of Millennial Saints. Travis Wayne Goodsoe was at a break in my day and was checking the church news and watching the spin-off of 24. It's just it's like NCIS when Gibbs left. But nonetheless, we got some major news here for you. Background history time. In 2011, social media took fire on the internet. And as a result, the church, as reported by local news, found that over 10 million Mormons called it quits. Social media became a force to be reckoned with. So no wonder the church is calling it porn now. Harmful to children. And so, that devastating blow caused Thomas S. Monson, president of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, a.k.a. no nicknames, under Nelson. But he lowered the age of missionaries from 19 to 18 for boys and 21 to 19 for girls. And as a result, according to the church's statistical report from 2013, he was able to increase the number of full-time missionaries to 83,035. And then, obviously, after 2 years, the old missionaries cycled out and the regular process resumed as it dropped down back to 50,000 or so, plus or minus, year after year since then. And so, if you've been paying attention to my church news, the church has been pulling under Nelson. Hey, we're not going to do firesides anymore. We're going to let parents teach their children. And the church then comes out with a whole blitzkrieg of devotionals for primary youth and young adults. And if you've not been paying attention to what's going on in the world, you're just living your own life, don't care that your life is about to be destroyed. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, starting with President Nelson, had paid Putin for the war in Ukraine with your tithing money. And then, remember that whole Mormons are Muslim too campaign? A little pamphlet that comes out, and Nelson is shaking hands with government and religious leaders of Islam, the Saudi Arabian princess. Yeah. Well, now we know that they used your tithing money again for Armageddon. Yay! We're all gonna die. And so, the church is now announcing that their campaign to brainwash and hypnotize your children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, however old you are watching this video, has succeeded. They were able to successfully increase the number of missionaries, keeping them off social media, keeping them away from me, keeping them away from anything but the church, and have increased the number of missionaries, as they are indicating here, to 72,000 plus. And so, as a result of this, they are creating 36 new missions for 2024. There's no reason to do this. They can just have one worldwide mission and have 72,000 missionaries. But this is their reasoning, is that because of the increased number of missionaries, we've got to increase the number of missions. I know. You just redesign the structure. And so, where are they? Well, they've got a little map here for us. It's available on the picture, so I've got the picture, and hopefully I remember to put it in the video. We see a number of them in south of the border. There's a few below. Yeah. So there's 9 in Africa, 2 in Asia, 1 in the Caribbean, 2 in Europe, Germany and Portugal, 1 in Japan, 2 in Mexico, and then they're saying North America, and they're all in the United States of America. Why didn't you just put United States of America? Oh my God. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 in the United States. 3 in the Philippines. And 6 in South America. So nothing in Russia. Nothing in Ukraine. Nothing in Israel. And so, instead of calling the missionaries home, because Armageddon has begun, as all of your children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, however old you are watching my video, are going around the world telling everybody about the Book of Mormon. They're going to say it's another testament of Jesus Christ. They're going to say they're Christian. They're going to lie. Remember? Hypnotized. As these little kids may not have even read the Book of Mormon. And there they go, off to bear testimony of what they've never even read. And then people are going to get the book, and despite you, as a missionary, going around purposely distracting them away from the beginning of the Book of Mormon and going right to 3 Nephi chapter 11, and then after that to Moroni chapter 10 verses 3 through 5, and purposely misleading them about manifest, they're going to read the Book of Mormon because you asked them to, and then pray to find out if it's true. And if they get the right feeling, they can be baptized too and begin paying the church tithing money as part of the pyramid scheme. And Mormons are upset with me because I'm exposing this. It is a crime. You do recall Article of Faith number 12. I'm pretty sure they made you memorize it, because they began making us memorize it when I was in primary. I had little buttons that we put on a thing. And so they're going to open up the Book of Mormon. Some may start at the end and see how it ends. How does the Book of Mormon end? The complete and utter destruction of the Nephites, huh? The Gospels restored, causing complete and utter destruction, huh? While the majority will read from the beginning. And as it's probably not likely, the more likelihood of Islamists getting the Book of Mormon will be in Africa. But nonetheless, people are going to read it, as they're going to be at least Christian as a majority. And they're going to read the Book of Mormon from the beginning and get to 1 Nephi chapter 1 verse 2 and go, hey, wait a minute. You told me you're Christian and that this is another testament of Jesus Christ. I see Jew. And so are you going to be ashamed about the Book of Mormon then? Are you going to lie and say, no, we're a Christian, honest. Jesus was a Jew. I have friends that are Jews. Since my kids' generation, there's been an increasing number of missionaries who can't mentally and emotionally handle the mission. So it's amazing that the churches reinforced their brainwashing to get up to 72 again. You'd think they'd lower the age even further. To 11 years old. Since they're already allowed to go to the temple now, under Nelson, making that change. 11-year-old boys not only can go to the temple, they are now deacons at 11 years of age. Preparing for child bride polygamy with the covenant path of the law of chastity. You are being obedient, right? If you're a Mormon listening to this and you claim that you're a faithful and true Mormon, member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, because Jesus all of a sudden now hates nicknames. He's a vengeful, wrathful God. And so you're being obedient, right? You're marrying a polygamous wife. Sorry, honey, we got to be faithful and true. There's this coworker at work. I feel she's the one for us. Have fun with that. Gotta be obedient. If you need help, I prefer and highly recommend Big Love. Let's help you out with this. Yeah, the church said don't watch it. But it was a TV series from 2006 to 2011, and it was HBO, so it's not porn, it's HBO. The most hilarious YouTube video of all time. Don't watch it if you're sensitive. Bill Paxton is the polygamist father. His first wife is Jeanne Triplehorn. Chloe Savigny is the daughter of the prophet, the LDS prophet. And so she's evil. She's trying to coup the family to be the first wife. And Jennifer Goodwin is the third wife, sister wife. She's a young little jailbait. And then there was another one who tried to get into the family, and it was too much for her to handle. And then you have Amanda Seyfried as the daughter, who's best friends with a Mormon girl. Member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And so the Mormon girl is trying to convert Amanda away from polygamy, and Amanda is wanting to have sex with her brother. Hilarious. And of course, you've got the evil false prophet seeking to get Bill Paxton to be fully tithed and take over ownership of his lumber yards or lumber store or whatever it is that he has going on. Trying to move in on the business. So that'll give you assistance on how to go about fulfilling the living prophet of Jesus' new command to be obedient to the law of chastity. Section 132, a forged document. Shh. You're not supposed to know that. You're supposed to believe it's from Joseph Smith. That you were never supposed to know that Joseph Smith has 6 times in the Book of Mormon no polygamy, and then he had a whole chapter, because it was chapters, in his 1835 Doctrine and Covenants on monogamy, condemning polygamy. So what happened? Well, Section 132 is not in the Joseph Smith papers. It doesn't exist as an original document. It just magically appeared the year when Brigham Young published it, right before he died, 1876. So, there you go. For the millennium, you need to understand that this is what's going on here. The big picture. Armageddon has begun. It's escalating. We're waiting for the big event prophesied in all Scripture. The day that shall burn as an oven. That's why we have the Book of Mormon. It's not for the gospel. It's all about the warning. And so, it's supposed to be this year. Church needs it to be done this year so that they can begin the millennium for conference weekend in April. Because Monday, that's the end. It's all wrapped up. And the millennium's supposed to begin. And if you have no clue what's on 8 April 2024, you are really living under a rock. We just had Day of Darkness number 2 on the 14th, just the other week. And you clearly are not watching my channel, or at least not long enough to understand what I'm trying to warn you about. And so, 72,000 missionaries need to come home. That was Heber C. Kimball's prophecy. Might still have it. Maybe not. No, did get transferred. Yeah, got transferred already. Bummer. But yeah, he says Jesus will call the missionaries home. I'm kind of confused because if he's actually talking about Jesus, Jesus is supposed to destroy the wicked. How's he going to do that and then call the missionaries home? I'm confused of the timing of Heber C. Kimball. And so obviously the prophets aren't doing it. They don't want to. Not going to do it. But yeah, this is a big middle finger to me, calling missionaries home. because the church is a fraud. In case you hadn't caught on earlier, we're not Christian. Therefore, Jesus is not our Christ. They're lying to us. They've successfully brainwashed the youth. Because they're staying off social media. But weirdly, Anna, who's now revealed herself as an anti-Semite, blaming Israel for Hamas, so sad. I really liked her. Has come out last night and indicated that lost my train of thought of what she was reporting last night. I've already transferred those files. So, yeah, it's not coming to mind. Anna got me sidetracked on what I was going to lead into. And so, yeah, it's interesting. 13 and 14 in Europe, Germany and Portugal, they're going to be involved in the war. As I confirmed with the strategy from 24 in season 9, Russia is waiting for the United States to fall before he begins his invasion into Europe. He was hoping to provoke the United States or the UN or any of the the coalition of allies to get them to help and cross a line where he can then justify beginning the war. And it's not working. And so thus the church stepped in to get Islam to begin the Armageddon in Israel. And that's working extremely well. And so once that war begins, the news is already ignoring Ukraine now. And thus America will be preoccupied. And Putin then will proceed forth with the invasion of Europe from there. And then China can then take over Taiwan. Thailand is in the land, Taiwan is in the water, right? And then fully occupy that, subject them, remove all their press, make it China press only, just like they did to Hong Kong during COVID. See the diversionary tactic? They came in justifying things. And so likewise, this is what we're seeing with Hamas. They're very devious, they're very evil, and they're fooling the press. And UNICEF has joined in being fooled, blaming Israel. And in case you need a recap, Hamas attacked Israel. The whole world of Islam cheered. They did not condemn the actions of Hamas. Palestine did not condemn the actions of Hamas. Palestine did not contact Israel and say, hey, we want to work with you to get rid of this Hamas threat. We're going to pull out our civilians and allow you to proceed, and we'll coordinate our attack on them. Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Netanyahu ordered Palestinians to leave because he's going to come after Hamas. Hamas told Palestinians to stay. Palestinians stayed. They are working with the terrorists. Hamas uses the Palestinians as shield and a protection against the power of the Israelis until they have finished their domination of the earth. You don't go to the temple that often, do you? You're not wearing your magic underwear? And so, Netanyahu continued to delay, giving more than enough time for the Palestinians to flee. Egypt sort of didn't want them, but at least they'd be down by the southern border, because Israel is coming from the north. And because of the delay, Hamas needed this to get going. Church paid them money. They need to get going. And so, a Palestinian Islamic jihadist group decided to help Hamas by bombing their own hospital. And of course, everybody blamed the Israelis. And all of a sudden, all around the world, everybody's outraged. And anti-Semitism has risen. But it did not trigger wars around the world. And so some more time was spent allowing Palestinians to flee. And then Israel began their invasion. Now, if you're unfamiliar with the church during all of this, they have the Jerusalem Center. It took them some time until they decided to move the students and faculty and janitors to Greece. And not too long after, the church decided, we're just going to send them home. Now, they didn't do this with the missionaries. And so, with the ground invasion, Hamas has been playing dirty. They're using women and children as shields. And so Red Cross, Amnesty International, and now UNICEF, and other aid, the UN, are all condemning Israel for Hamas with the Palestinians using the children as shields. Willingly using the children as shields. And yet everybody's blaming Israel. And so last night, refugee camp was hit by Israel. Israel actually hit this one this time. And everybody's upset. These were refugees. What are you doing? Well, why didn't they leave? They were told to leave. Why did they stay? And you get reports now, after the fact. They can't leave. They're injured. Why didn't they leave? Because they're staying and fighting as shields. They're not given weapons. They are a tactic to be used as martyrs. This is the cowardly approach to war that the villains always do. And sure enough, that's what happened with the refugee camp. A commander of Hamas with his soldiers were hiding among the refugee camp. That's why Israel struck the refugee camp. I only saw Reuters covering that. Those refugees were not refugees. They were willing martyrs for Hamas. This has been the problem the whole time. And the world is falsely accusing Israel of being inhumane, of committing war crimes, when it's Hamas who is to blame. You cannot give in to terrorists because Hamas is using the hostages for extortion to get Israel to back off. Israel cannot back off. Hamas purposely did this to start the extermination of all Israelis all around the world. And they are not going to back down. If Israel is stupid enough and decides not to cease fire as all the world is outraged with them, demanding that they stop, Hamas will just continue the bombings. Because they're not going to stop, and not a single one of all these organizations, United Nations, Islamists, are ever calling for a ceasefire by Hamas. Calling for Hamas to release the hostages. Condemning Hamas for putting the Palestinian women and children in danger. For making them martyrs. Nobody is condemning Hamas. Not even the American press, except for CNN. They seem to be the only ones getting it, which is strange. And so, yes, we have members of Congress who support Hamas and are being very vocal about it and should be removed from office for it. Squad. So this is a dangerous time. They purposely knew, because the church is using the prophecies of the Bible to get their kingdom back. To destroy all the other religions, because there are only 3 million active, 72,000 of which are missionaries. And so there's no way they can go up against the 4 billion Christians and Islamists. They've got to get them fighting to destroy each other. And have them believe that Jesus is coming to destroy everybody else. Even Muslims, they believe in Jesus. Hilarious. If it weren't so evil, Jesus was a double agent. He came among the Jews to form Christianity as a Muslim, to come back in the latter days and murder the Christians and the Jews. And you still think it's all true, huh? Dear God. Alrighty, so that's the breaking news. The children are staying off of social media and are going on missions to put their lives in danger. And every Mormon knows when a missionary dies, where do they go in the afterlife? Think celestial. And see, the missionaries get to be innocent. Lambs to the slaughter. Church is doing exactly what Hamas is doing. The church is old school. They're putting your sons and daughters out there in the mission field, knowing full well that it's Armageddon, knowing full well that for their safety, it's time to close the missionary work. But you can see the church is more interested in obtaining more land and getting as much money as they can before it does finally force an ending. And that's what's sad, is that their Mormon parents, grandparents, and great-grandparents are complicit in using their little kids to be martyrs for the coming of Mormon Jesus. I mean, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints Jesus. He's angry. And he's going to murder everyone else for murdering the lambs. And the prophets can come back from their little fleeing vacation and claim, the United States caused this. We demand that we get our kingdom back. We're going to run our own government. You murdered our children. If the United States is still around. And then they get their kingdom back. The whole West Coast, Western United States. California will most likely be in the ocean. Beachfront property in Arizona. There's the theme song in the description below. Beachfront property, Arizona. Good old country song. Come home. It's real simple. It's not the right religion. It's not Joseph's church. The Book of Mormon does not belong to the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Because the Book of Mormon exposes the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints as the great and abominable church that, using priestcraft with the secret combination, the Council for National Policy, are going to destroy the United States and thus the whole world. Because once America falls, all hell is going to open up her mouth and swallow everybody whole.